Test. There you go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the world premiere of Ghost Executioners 2. My name is Charles Williams, and I've been given the honor of introducing the young filmmaker that's responsible for the two films that you're going to be seeing tonight. But before I bring him out, I'd just like to say a few things about him that I think you should know. I first met Jimmy when he was 10 years old, and he was a student in my 5th grade class. He had a gleam in his eye, and sometimes that gleam turned out to be creative, and sometimes that gleam was mischief. But he was always one of my favorite students. I can say that now that I'm retired. Our relationship developed into an adult friendship when he invited me to join his horrific network team. Like many other well-known genre creators starting out, Jim has unselfishly made his friends a part of all his projects, whether it be podcasts, movies, or the panel team of Sinister Creature Con. To put it simply, Jim has inspired all of us to be more than we were before we met him. We've grown as a result of knowing Jim. And isn't that the very definition? Isn't that the very definition of being an artist? It's with a great deal of pride that I introduce the producer, the director, the writer, and the star of Ghost Executioners 2, Jim Wienholz.
Well, first of all, man, thank you for coming. What it is to be an independent filmmaker is literally wondering if anyone is going to watch your stuff. So the fact that you guys are here tonight means a whole lot to me, and I know it means a whole lot to everybody who was involved. I just wanted to tell you, because my wife asked me when we were in the lobby, do you know everybody that's here right now? And I said, no, I do not. So I just wanted to take a minute to tell you a little bit about me and Horrific Network and Ghost Executioners and why it means so much to me. Back it up to 2013, I was going through a really rough time in my life. Like, really rough time. If you listen to any of my podcasts, I tag charities and I tag helplines and everything that relates to that rough time. So if you want to find out about me a little bit more, listen to one of my podcasts. But Albus Dumbledore said, you can find happiness in the darkest of times if you remember just to turn on the light. And I turned on the light August 14, 2015, actually, 14. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary. And that was the first podcast that I ever recorded. And that podcast stemmed into a job at Sinister Creature Con, getting to interview celebrities. And that experience inspired me to write my first screenplay. And when I wrote my first screenplay, the people that I knew who would be willing to be in it were some of the cast that you're going to see on screen tonight. And that screenplay, after going to film school, was a mess, and that film was a mess. But what it did is one of those guests on the podcast had said, you know what, man, you need to go to film school. And so I did my research, and I went to the Los Angeles Film School. I graduated summa cum laude. I was top of my class. Straight A's, except for one dick lighting instructor who gave me a B+. And asshole is right. But what I gained from film school was another level of knowledge of how to create your craft. And through that, I made, as a thesis project really, is the first film that you're going to see tonight, which is Ghost Executioners 1. And Ghost Executioners 1 was under a lot of tight restrictions. I made this film for under $200. And, thank you. And the response that it got at first was an A, and then I was like, you know what? I will, just for the hell of it, submit it into some film festivals, and it started winning awards. And I was like, holy smokes, it's winning awards. And, you know, film festival, the lifespan is usually like 1.5 years to 2 years, and then you get distribution, or it goes on the wayside, and you as an independent filmmaker, you're on to your next thing anyway. And I was like, okay, I found, and I know a lot of the production crew is here, and I love the fact that they came out, but let me hear that Modesto Nuts noise. I found an awesome job at the Modesto Nuts. The easiest way to explain what I do is like technical director during their game day stream. So take 1, take 2, give me a shot of this guy, give me a shot of that guy. And my awesome team is here tonight. Some of my awesome team is actually in the movie you're going to see tonight. And that, you know, has been just a blast and a half. And one thing that I've always wanted to do since graduating film school is, you know what, I want to like give these characters that I created more attention. And so in the off season, I just started writing a script, and here we are today. Ghost Executioners 1, you guys, has played in over 50 film festivals and won over 35 awards. Ghost Executioners 2 was made for under $1,000. And what, you know, the future entails for these characters, we'll get into. A little bit of housekeeping, man. We're going to do a cast Q like panel, Comic-Con style, after the movie, so I hope you guys will hang out for that and listen to what some of the principal characters, you know, have to share. And then after that, we have an after party thing going on at Speakeasy, so if you guys are night owls on a Wednesday, join some of the cast for that. But Ghost Executioners 2 and Ghost Executioners 1 are so near and dear to my heart because it brings up the second character I want to quote, Lydia Dietz. I myself am strange and unusual. For a long time, man, being strange and unusual was not it. Like, I can remember, especially being an only child, you have imaginary friends and shit that you do. And, you know, you can get bullied. And the fact that I love, you know, Ninja Turtles, and I love professional wrestling, and I love these things, you know, growing up wasn't always the easiest, but in 2025, being strange and unusual is pretty fucking cool, you know what I'm saying? So, this film really is dedicated to anybody who was ever given shit for being strange and unusual. And if you are part of Ghost Executioners 1 or 2, can you just stand up for a minute, please? These people have helped me, you know, reach levels for 30 grand, yeah, right. These guys, you know, there's always, in interviewing people on my talk show, there's a saying that I've heard repeatedly, and that is, do less with more. And even though you have the budget, especially in horror, you're more apt to be scared of the shadow or the sound. In your own mind, you're going to conjure up the scariest scenario possible. But when you see it on screen, if you do see it on screen, you're like, that's either terrifying or it's not that scary. So the power of suggestion is way, you know, I've interviewed so many directors that say, man, if the studio wouldn't have made me show my monster, I wouldn't. independent film, kind of the opposite. It's do more with less, right? And I am incredibly proud. As I sat there, the second movie that you're going to see took about 70 hours to finish editing. And I'm incredibly proud what this group produced for you tonight for under $1,000.
Wow.
It is mind-blowing. So I wanted to give them their flowers. The other people that I wanted to recognize, I wanted to thank Modesto Taqueria, and I wanted to thank the Queen Bean Coffee House for helping advertise. I need to thank my parents for helping make tonight happen. It was absolutely a dream come true to see that lobby packed with people, to see something that we made. I want to thank Mark Countryman, who is here somewhere, for letting us film what you will see is the most epic thing that I have ever made, film-wise, scene-wise. That was 2 nights out there were a blast, actually 2.5 days out there were a blast. And I want to thank, last but not least, I want to thank my wife. Because the thing about doing this is 70 hours is a lot of time when you work and you only have so many hours in the day to spend together, and you're sacrificing that time, and she gets really unfairly pushed aside as I'm doing this, but she knows why she is sacrificing her time with me so I can pursue what is becoming a dream come true. So, I love you. Okay. And with that, man, there's one famous line. There's one line in this movie that gets repeated in actually both of them. That's when the ghost executioners are up against it. They say, "Let's execute them!" So, on the count of 3, it would be the best if everyone along with me gave me a "let's execute them." Don't roll your eyes, dog. Shut up. So, 1, 2, 3. Let's execute them! Enjoy my movie, guys.
We're going to start off by asking Jim. He'll be out of breath by the time he gets down here. But we're going to start off by asking what the inspiration and what were his influences in making Ghost Executioners 1 and 2.
So super important announcement first. They said flick your switch to the middle.
Got it.
Hello? Okay. So, what was my inspiration for Ghost Executioners 1 and 2? So, the first one was straight down like Ghostbusters meets The Office. And the second one, I kind of like went down this rabbit hole of like how weird can we get? And so the third one, it's gonna get real weird. But yeah, I mean, originally Ghostbusters meets The Office, and then the real inspiration for them as far as characters is all kind of parts of me, I guess. Like Mike was the dreamer, Scott was the guy who was super into haunted houses, Jerry was the actor, so it was all just parts of me as far as writing them. But Office with Ghostbuster type TV show. And then the studio is named TBB, which is kind of like an Easter egg to my mom, because in her classroom when she was a teacher, she had the words think, believe, become. And so actually when I graduated, I got tattooed. But think, believe, become, so TBB Studio.
Yeah, that's a great answer. This question really goes to the whole panel, and we'll just pass the mics down so everybody has a chance to answer. Even I don't know this, and I was involved in the project. How did each one of you become involved in the project? So we'll start with John and Ashley.
So I met Jimmy because he came to our haunted house that we run, and that's how we became friends from there. And so I mean, anytime Jimmy would ask us to do something, we're always in because it always turns into gold. So right away it was like, oh yeah, we're in.
Yeah, same. When he started coming to the haunted house, we definitely connected and had a connection. And then he invited us to be a part of the podcast, and we started doing that. And we joined him on the panel team for Sinister Creature Con and have done that for many years with him. And we're just supportive, like whatever he wants to create, we're on board because he helps support our vision for our haunted house as well. So, you know, that's what great friends do for each other, is they jump in and they help where help's needed, and that's what we did. And we got to have a lot of fun and laugh, and we have a lot of great memories, so why not?
Yeah, I met Jimmy through the haunt as well, go figure. Actually, the mask that has now been deemed Drakic, the first night I got him, I was working in the haunt, and Jimmy came through, and afterwards he came up to me and said, I'm making a movie, I don't know what you're going to be yet, but I want that character in it. And this is what it evolved and turned into. And yeah, every film project he has, I have a collection of masks, and he has full access to them and use them for his characters.
Well, I met Jimmy at work at Enox with Shalita, where sometimes we get together, talk about movies, and eventually he kind of invited me out to go to the haunts and to kind of like check out what's going there, and then invited me to be in the movie. And then for the second one, Tracy started working at Enox a few years ago, my wife, and invited us both to be in this second one. So yeah, it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun.
So I met Jimmy with the Modesto Nuts. As you guys heard, he works with the Modesto Nuts, kind of running our production team there. So I kind of oversee the production department there at the Modesto Nuts. So over there, I'm kind of like his boss. And then as I run the media department there, so I have an interest in a lot of the film and stuff like that. And I usually do the background aspect. When I told him I had an interest of also acting as well, he was like, well, come join me on this film. I got a spot for you. And so it was kind of funny that over there, I'm kind of his boss, but here with filming, you know, he's calling the shots over here. So then it's kind of funny how it's like, then he was my boss at this point.
I know Jimmy, I happen to be lucky enough to be a nutcase over at the Nut House as well with Jimmy. So, you know, working over there is fantastic, having a good time with him. And doing this project with him has been pretty awesome. I'm kind of just lost with all of it, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, Jimmy and I have been friends since our youth, our childhood, and usually when people ask me for a favor, it's to like move a fridge or something. So he just asked me to come hang out and talk shit, and he promised to feed us, which he did. So that's how I got in the mix.
Okay, the next question is for the married couples in the cast. John and Ash, Tracy and Justin. How much did you rely on your real life relationships to portray your characters? Did anything bleed over from real life to real life? And we'll let John and Ash go first.
Not too much. There's probably about like one scene.
So all that affection was just for acting, right?
Some of it, yeah. My favorite one is the scene where she says something and I'm like, no, like the show. Just that reaction was very much like something that would happen at home. So that's why that one relate very well.
I think for us it was pretty spot on to our early years, like that whole honeymoon stage when you're like fawning all over each other, and And now, you know, we're with each other every day, so it is what it is, and we film, and it was just, you know, special and not anything new. It was like normal conversation for us, so just with the extra mushy on it.
Tracy and Justin, what was it like for you guys working together?
So I was having a really hard time getting into character because I'm not an actress. And so the particular scene where I'm holding him and I leave him at the car is he would just say, just act like at home when you get annoyed with me.
Yeah, that was pretty much her motivation the entire shoot. Just until I just act like I'm annoying you. So that worked. But yeah, it's just kind of all of us always being together. We've been together since we were like 13, so
Oh,
it's sort of
gosh.
natural. So
Well, that's a sweet story. Okay, once again for the whole panel, what was your most vivid memory of filming Ghost Executioners 2?
Larry's seance. That
Really got into
yeah, because that you know, this movie, the bonfire scene, like I was texting these guys because Mark was like, we need to light a bonfire before the cast gets here so we see how big this thing is going to be. And so I was texting these guys the test bonfire. I'm like, dude, this is gonna be freaking awesome when you guys get here. And as awesome as that scene was, Larry's exorcism scene, he came to my house in full costume, in character, and I opened my front door, and there's Larry in his costume, just, hello, I'm here to conjure the spirits. And he's sitting there, you know, 30 minutes in before we start filming, and I think Ashley said, like, what the hell do we even call you? I don't know, the script just says psychic. And just every take that he did, like that by far was the most take day because Larry just kept making us freaking laugh, man. I mean, from the get-go, oh, so you want a shitty Jamaican accent then? I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
For me, it was the bonfire scene, the finale, because we even shot that one pretty late in filming, and so by then I felt like we were all really comfortable in our characters, and so it seemed like it breezed by pretty quickly as far as shooting goes, and just the whole atmosphere and getting to play with, you know, ghosts that are flying over us that weren't there, you know, all that's just hilarious and fun.
I don't have a specific favorite scene because I just love the memory of filming everything. Every time we got together, we were laughing and having such a good time. We were crying because we were laughing so hard. You almost couldn't even make a take or do another take because we were still laughing. So I think that's my favorite part, is just getting together with our friends, basically, because we're all a group of friends, and just having fun and making this movie and just making memories for me.
For me, a lot of it actually, I was standing in front of a green screen most of the time, so I didn't get to see any of these people. And that was a whole new experience too, of, you know, pretending that you're getting shot at from here, or, you know, someone's going to be standing here. So, you know, going from the haunt life to this is a big change to playing pretend.
And for me, honestly, it was just laughing the whole time. We would do cuts, and then I'd get ready, and I think I'd be serious, and then they would do a whole different line, and then I'd laugh, but we'd laugh the whole time. So it was basically just laughing. I thought it was really fun.
yeah, that was my favorite part. Was just the whole process and everybody having fun and laughing and cracking each other up. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, same for me. I wasn't there very long on set, only a couple days, but the times that I was on set, it was very fun. The first time I was on set was at the bonfire scene, as everyone else had discussed, and I think that was probably my favorite part as well, especially with that was my first time there, and that was one of the biggest scenes that we were filming. And then also, I just had a blast too, as you guys saw when we were filming. Jimmy just said, just stare at the sky. We're going to edit something there later, but just stare at the sky and look surprised. So I had a blast doing that.
I think my very favorite was going to be probably the first day on set, and I had the opportunity in order to meet Miss Coconut. Actually, I had no idea what Larry's name was until the end of the day, due to his commitment to being in character for so long. The idea that everybody was just gonna be there and try and commit, to whatever they can do, bring forth whatever character that they have, but just all their energy, you know what I mean, and like having a really, really good time with it. That kind of made it safe, I guess, for everybody else in order to have like a really, really good time as well. So I can let my R's roll and let Murado, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to toss up, the coconut scene for sure was amazing. I'm turning to my side and Tracy is crying tears just from laughing, to the point where Jimmy gets so mad. He's like, sober up, dude, we gotta run this thing. But she's just crying tears. But at the bonfire, Jimmy shows up, and I have no idea that he's even in the thing. And he's like, yeah, I shoot Crone. I was like, you shoot Crone? I was like, you should shoot him in the nuts. He's like, okay, cool. So there's like a bunch of takes of Crone on the ground being held by Tracy, where they didn't make the final cut, but some of the things that Crone was coming up with off the top of his head just had me crying tears. So that was probably the thing that stood out the most.
I think one of the most impressive parts of the film is the look of Drakic. Ricky, what was your process in creating the character?
I mean, really, it was all Jimmy's mindset behind it. He gave good direction, kind of pointed me in what he was looking for in each scene. He voiced everything too, which was kind of interesting. So he would kind of mouth it off as I was trying to play along, and mouthed what he was saying to try to get things to sync up. But
was the mask one that you had and developed, or was that?
They're the ones that I purchased already that I've had. Yeah, when he said he's filming the second one, I pretty much walked through my collection and said, these are all your options, so tell me what we're using on this one.
Great. Hey Nick, not that I'm disparaging your ability to remember lines, but how much of Jerry's character did you improvise?
Jimmy wrote a script. I never read it. So, I don't know, all of it.
All of it, yeah. I kind of thought that was going to be the answer.
Jimmy gave great direction, and to Jimmy's credit, the environment he cultivated was very collaborative, very like creative, and very like low stakes. There was never high pressure for this thing at all by any of us, and we'd have people come in like Coconut, who's awesome, and some of the other guys, Mike, and Mike apologizes when he shows up, like, hey man, I'm sorry, I'm not a professional actor, like, bro, like, we're all just schmucks up here. So, I don't know. Shout out to Jimmy for making it so easy.
I think that's one of the strengths of Jim, is he has a very relaxed set. Nobody feels like they're under pressure. He's always encouraging you to develop the character. You don't have to stick strictly to the words he wrote in the script. So it does come across, but it also brings out some really good performances. Raymond, can you say the great Murado one more time for us? And how did you prepare for the role? Because I just love to hear you say that.
I am the great Murado. I'm not echoing, you're echoing. That's what it says. All right, everybody remember that. Remember, I'm not echoing, you're echoing.
So where did that come from? Where did that, was that divine inspiration? Or?
That was me driving around in my car and talking to my daughter and trying to figure out how I can make this as annoying as humanly possible to make her cringe the most. And she's right there. That's my daughter. Yeah, she's covering her eyes right there. That's it.
The one who's cringing.
It was mostly just because Jimmy asked for this character to kind of be over the top, and as I was like looking at the lines and what he was trying to write, it kind of came across as if this individual would be someone that would try to conjure a lot of spirits and or like think that he knows a lot about everything and be overconfident and want to say his name over and over and over again. So everybody must echo it, and it is Bravo.
Great. Can't hear it enough.
There you go.
Chris, this was your first experience acting? Or have you done acting before?
I guess second, but close enough.
Okay, well, what surprised you the most about the process of making a movie?
Well, I think this was just a very, very fun experience. I think the thing was kind of how to develop the character. I know I had chatted with Jimmy a little bit as I was reading the script, kind of going over what this character is, and I remember telling him, I was like, all right, so I read the script, I read kind of like what this character is going to be. I think I have it perfect. I think I'm going to make it a little of a mix of like a mad scientist / Joker type vibes for that. And Jimmy was like, that's perfect, that's exactly what I was going for.
Jimmy, in every project, I think it's obvious that you've shown that you've developed as a filmmaker in each one of your projects. What was the biggest challenge in bringing Ghost Executioners to the screen? What was the most difficult thing you had to deal with?
The effects, you know, the borderline of knowing, like, watching the first one and seeing what we used, and knowing just like how cheeseball the thing in fact was, and knowing that the expectation for like that final battle scene is just cornball stuff, and wanting it to still be entertaining but cheesy. You know, the Andrew, the Murado seance scene, the timing of getting the smoke to rise and fall out of the urn was a pain in the ass. But it was one of those things that was like, you know, this scene will be so much better if I can just sit here for a couple hours and time the fog to fall with Estrada putting the lid on the thing as Andrew, you know, goes away. And you know, that was really, the kind of thing was I wanted to keep it, because the first one, you know, the whole thing is cheeseball, but in the second one, I wanted it to be a challenge to kind of take it to the next level without losing the cheeseballness of the thing. And so, you know, really the effects was kind of where I wanted that challenge to come from. The cast, you know, I had the faith in, so there was no challenge, you know, really in directing them, because every day was a blast. So it was all the post stuff.
John and Ashley, how important was your experience as haunters to your performances in the film?
I mean, I think that just us being haunters and being involved in the paranormal world and doing ghost investigations in the past before we even filmed Ghost Executioners 1, ghost hunting adventures with Jimmy out in the middle of nowhere and experiencing crazy things and all of that definitely helped, and we are big fans of that environment. So it just kind of was like second nature for us. It just kind of, for me at least, it just felt like we were just doing what we already do, and we were just being filmed doing it.
So for me at The Haunt, I also, perform and act. So, but during that, you're wearing a full costume, your character, it seems easier to get into that, that side of you when you're in makeup, or you have like kind of a mask that you put on, like an exterior. And then something like this, not having that, it's a bit of a learning curve, but eventually, you kind of do the same thing. You create this character that you kind of wield, and, just you bring it out. And so that helped a lot.
Tracy and Justin, what kind of reviews do you think your children are going to give you?
They're right there.
They're our biggest fans.
So I'm thinking positive reviews?
Yes.
Be honest now, did you guys laugh when your dad was saying those bad words? This one is for the whole panel again. How would you some of you have already answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How would you describe being directed by Jimmy?
What a question.
So I'm going to start, this kind of references back to a question that Nick had. So the joke on set the entire time was that nobody read the script and we didn't know what the hell we were going to say the whole movie. Jimmy would be like, yeah, it's in there. It's under scene this and page this. And we'll be like, what? There was a script? So, I mean, definitely. And he would be like, no, you need to say this. And we'd be like, oh, okay, so the rabbit jumped in the hat. Okay. And we would just make it our own, which I think is so much more fun for us because we got some really good takes by being open and free and being able to do those things.
Yeah, it's one thing. Jimmy can have it down in the script, and then as you try to say it, might seem weird, like you're kind of battling it. And then, you know, he'll just say, just kind of put it in your
I don't like this question.
I mean, but that's called using your tools and using us to your advantage to have us come out naturally with the words that we're going to say. And it just, you know, it plays out really well.
Yeah, he was great to work with. Very easy and straightforward. Almost too easy sometimes. Made me wonder if we got it all or not. But yeah, no pressure. Very, like I said, easy, go with the flow type of a production the whole way through.
Yeah, it's nice. He gives you the script as the framework, and I did read the first version of the script, and then Jimmy changed it. So when we got to set and he started talking about what was in the scenes, I was like, "That's not the script, not the one that I read." But he lets you kind of run free with it, and you know, it's nice because there is no pressure.
Justin deserves flowers too because literally, this guy here is my writer's room. Because I will walk down to his classroom and throw these ideas out, and he and I have brainstormed. You know, a lot of what showed up in the final cut was him and I cry laughing between the two of us and thinking about different things. So Justin very much is my emotional support crone.
So again, like I mentioned, with Jimmy working with me at the Nuts, it's kind of funny because when over at the Modesto Nuts, I'm in charge of the department, so it's like I'm the one calling the shots for him, and he's listening to me. So it was really fun here being a part of this project where he's the one calling the shots and I'm listening to him. But like everyone else mentioned before, aside from the script, when we're filming a scene, I would have had my scene memorized, would have had the lines all memorized, ready to go, and then he would have said, oh, actually, you know what, we're going to do this instead, say this instead. Or there were parts where I had nothing to say, and he's like, all right, Chris, you're going to say this, actually. And I'm like, all right, I got more lines. So, yeah, it was really fun working with Jimmy on that aspect.
All right, so I'll be the bad guy and say Jimmy has been a pain in the ass. No, not at all. He's been fantastic. Just like Chris said here, it's been just so much fun on set, and then it's been so lackadaisical. I mean, just kind of just hanging out. We're just having a good time every single time that we're going out there. But you know, it is just like Chris said. Is the thing that you would show up is if you did study the script. Some of us did. So I mean,
Appreciate you.
Yeah. But you know, then you show up and Jimmy would say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna make an adjustment and have you say this paragraph instead. You can memorize that, right? We got this real quick. You got like 4 or 5 lines. No big deal. No big deal. We make it fit, but it obviously it's not exactly that sentence that or whatever that he's expecting. It's more like let's see if we can get this statement across and message sense. So which all makes sense. But so in long working with Jimmy has been amazing, super easy.
Yeah, I mean, just echoing what everybody said. It's just such low stakes, high fun. It's you know, adult life hits and you don't get to just go to your buddy's house and hang out like every night like you would when you were younger, and that's what this is. It's the adult version of that, just hanging out with Jimmy, and like I said, he feeds us, so it's good.
Hey, I'm just going to throw this one out there, and anybody who wants to answer can answer it. What was the funniest thing that happened during film? Anybody want to take that one?
I mean,
For sure, coconut was the funny.
Coconut was the funniest. I can tell you, on the Enoch's High side of things, Crone was so excited for the Murado seance to be able to say, "Shut the fuck up, Jerry." And like, every day or anytime we were planning filming, he'd be like, "Is this the night that I get to say, tell Shalita to shut the fuck up?" And I'm like, "No, not tonight." And he's like, "Damn it." And then finally I'm like, "Guess what, bro?" Actually, the night that we were supposed to do it, I got rear-ended, and this guy, took my car out of commission, so we postponed that filming. So it was even worse, because Crone thought that he was going to get to tell Shalita to shut the fuck up. And then on the way to filming, I had to text everyone saying, "Hey, we can't film tonight." So we had to wait like an extra week and a half. So as a director, watching the anticipation rise in Crone every day it was a little bit more like a kid on Christmas until he got to tell Shalita that is probably the funniest experience.
I've got to put some perspective on this because I don't have this like secret harboring feeling to like tell Shalita to shut the fuck up, because that's what this sounds like, that I've been waiting for, 8 years now, just so I could tell Shalita to shut the... No, the fun is that if you know me, that's not really me. I wouldn't tell somebody, and especially Shalita. But so yeah, I was excited to be able to do that because I was sort of the opposite of me. So yeah, it was fun to be able to tell my buddy to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Crone.
God damn it.
Well, it's interesting, Nick, that you're speaking up, because my next question is for you. In Ghost Executioners 1, you punched me. In Ghost Executioners 2, you punched me again. And in another scene that you saw a bit of, you shake the living crap out of me. What is your stand on elder abuse?
I can't wait to punch you in the third one.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna up the ante in the third one. Before we get to a Q&A, I have a couple more questions for Jim. Jim, what's the future of Ghost Executioners 2 now that it's had its world premiere?
The future too is knock on wood, film festivals. The kind of thing with 2 that was interesting is this. By the time we decided to make 2, 1 was getting asked to screen. Festivals were asking me permission to play the thing, which was a wild thing. And so 2, my expectations are that it, even if it doesn't do as well, that it does, some festival stuff. And, we did the media thing last night, and that was a good response. And so we'll see. The thing that's kind of exciting internationally, especially, is that short film distribution overseas is like a thing. And so there are, companies in Europe and Asia that want to help you grow as a short filmmaker. So who knows, man? I got to shout out Euros Castorelli, who was the composer of the thing for like 85% of it. That was a composer who lives in Italy, and he contacted me when we put number 2 on IMDb, and he was like, "I want to compose Ghost Executioners 2," and I was like, "Euros, I cannot pay you a whole lot of money." And he was like, "I just want to do this, so let me know." And we made it work. And so the fact that it's getting attention, like that kind of attention, hopefully the thing just continues to snowball, man.
Okay, that sets the stage for Ghost Executioners 3. Is there anything you can tell us about Ghost Executioners 3?
So the first film I mentioned that I made before film school, Door to Door, was a 75-minute film. No real idea what I was doing.
Very ambitious.
Thank you. But as we've done these two, I'm like, you know, the final battle, I can't tell you who has kind of expressed interest to us, but it is a family that's pretty well known with like nightmares before a certain holiday. And the fact that they're interested, and I've gotten phone calls from Japan that is like, we very much want a feature film, Ghost Executioners feature film. That is the plan. That Ghost Executioners, we're going to crowdfund and fundraise and do this thing very much in phases, like a summer shoot, a fall shoot, and a early 2026 shoot, and fundraise in between, and try to film part of the thing down south, so those people who have expressed interest can be a part of it. And hopefully it came across at the end of 2 that the network that was producing the show within the film is the bad guy, so the executioners have kind of got to figure out how to deal with them, and then whatever the hell's going on with Jerry.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for any questions you have of the cast. Is there anybody who would like to ask a question?
I've got a question.
Right, there's a question.
Just a quick query for you. Here's the thing. Why the hell is I not get paid for my time?
Because you're a fraud, Coconut. You lied.
I told you there was an absolutely perfect explanation.
I'll tell you one thing. Coconut, hopefully, will be in number 3.
Yeah. All right.
I've never heard that man's real voice.
Anybody else? Oh, way up in the top.
This is a filmmaker to filmmaker question. What did you shoot on? What camera?
Is a Sony FS7.
Ooh, nice. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Jim then as we end the program tonight to give us his last words on this special evening.
Man, I am forever grateful to have this circle of people around me. My wife and I are, in doing Horrific Network, part of expanding that label is going out and interacting with people and growing a network. And I have said before, like, I know a lot of people, but like true friends, I that circle is smaller than what you may expect it to be. And everybody up on this stage, and several that we're going to call up on the stage for a cast photo in a minute, are part of that small circle of like true, like, man, I'm broken down on a scary farm, or the cops are coming, oh shit, I'm gonna make a phone call. But like, I am very, very grateful to know everybody that is in my close circle, and I just want to make more things, man. That's it. I just want to entertain people. So I thank all you guys very much for coming tonight. And if we can, all the cast members that weren't up here already, can you please come to the stage so we can get a cast photo?
Coconut.